This experimental setup actually we are viewing is to prove the Maxwell reciprocal theorem. The Maxwell reciprocal theorem states that on any structure, deflection at a point due to load at a second point will be equal to deflection at the second point due to the same load applied at the first point. അതായത് ഒരു സ്ട്രക്ചറിലെ രണ്ട് പോയിന്റ് എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആദ്യത്തെ പോയിന്റിൽ ഒരു ലോഡ് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് രണ്ടാമത്തെ പോയിന്റിൽ ഡിഫ്ലക്ഷൻ മെഷർ ചെയ്യുക. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ രണ്ടാമത്തെ പോയിന്റിൽ അതേ ലോഡ് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് ഒന്നാമത്തെ പോയിന്റിൽ ഡിഫ്ലക്ഷൻ മെഷർ ചെയ്യുക. ഈ രണ്ട് ഡിഫ്ലക്ഷനും ഈക്വൽ ആയിരിക്കും എന്നതാണ് മാക്സ്വെൽ റെസിപ്രോക്കൽ തിയറത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു വെർഷൻ. ആ ഒരു വെർഷനാണ് നമ്മളിവിടെ പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത്. അതിനുള്ള ഒരു എക്സ്പെരിമെൻറ്റ് സെറ്റപ്പാണ് ഈ കാണുന്നത്. സോ ഹിയർ ദ സ്ട്രക്ചർ ഈസ് ആക്ച്വലി എ ബീം, സ്റ്റീൽ ബീം, ആൻഡ് ദിസ് ഈസ് ദ steel beam that is used for proving the Maxwell reciprocal theorem. And the steel beam having some depth in the vertical direction and the breadth is measured in the horizontal direction. So that will be having certain cross-section area. You can view this one from the empty view. This is the cross-section. So depth is actually smaller than compared to the breadth. But in reality, when you design and erect a beam, it should be provided in the reverse order. That is, the depth should be more than the width, so that moment of inertia will be more, which is governing the deflection or control the deflection. And here actually it is given in the opposite direction, that is the depth is less than the width, only because that here we need to prove the Maxwell reciprocal theorem, for which some deflection measurement is required. So we need some deflection for a smaller load. So when you apply small load, it should provide some deflection. So deflection will be more when the moment of inertia is less. That is, depth, if it is kept lower than the width, you can expect some deflection. So for obtaining such a deflection only, the beam here in the experimental setup provided with depth smaller than the width. Otherwise, heavy loads may be to be applied for getting some deflection. For avoiding that one, for having some deflection for the beam, only for the experimental setup only it is provided like this. But in reality, when you design and erect a beam, the depth should be more than the width. It should be oriented in that direction. Otherwise, the moment of inertia will be less, and the control on deflection also will be in difficulty. So this is the experimental setup, and on this steel beam, these are the supports provided. This is one support, and at the other end another support is also provided. So in between these two supports, steel beam is supported. So it is acting at a simply supported beam. And on the simply supported beam, here in the setup, the span in between the supports is kept as 80 centimeter, so that this point is the midpoint of the beam, and this is a quarter point, and this is another quarter point. And here at the center there is a dial gauge is provided for measuring the vertical deflection, and at the quarter span another dial gauge is provided for measuring the deflection. And here on the right quarter span, one hanger is provided on which we can keep the loads. These are the loads. Each small unit is containing 100 gram weight. So we can apply the load by gradually in the increasing order as well as decreasing order to this 100 gram. So when you add each weight onto the hanger, that much weight will be coming on this quarter span. So here in this experiment, this quarter span points are taken as the 2 points. So we'll apply at the load at the right quarter span, and we are measuring the deflection at the left quarter span. And at the middle also another dial gauge is provided just for checking the deflection. Is there any variation when you apply load on the right quarter span and left quarter span? Just for checking only. So actually these are the 2 points we are considering, right quarter span and left quarter span. So first we will apply load at the right quarter span, gradually increasing, and we will measure the deflection in the dial gauge that is provided at the left quarter span. And after completing the loading, that is increasing as well as decreasing, we will measure. So that we will take the average for minimizing the error. Then after that, completing that one, we will interchange these 2 points. The load point will become this first quarter span, and the dial gauge will be provided in the second quarter span. So again we will increase the loading and decreasing the loading, and we will measure the deflection at the second quarter span, and by averaging that one, we can draw or plot a graph between the load and deflection for the loading at the second quarter span as well as loading at the first quarter span. And according to Clark-Maxwell reciprocal theorem, if it is satisfying, if the structure is satisfying elasticity properties, these two graphs should coincide. And slight variation may be there due to experimental errors. So that we are going to prove by using this Clark-Maxwell reciprocal theorem. So this is the experimental setup. Just we will see how the loading is given. So first hanger is placed on the second quarter span. First the 100 gram. One weight is added. So hanger is having certain weight. Corresponding to that, before placing the hanger, the dial gauge at the second quarter span should be placed there, and so that deflection should be maintained as 0 or made as 0 on the dial gauge. After that, hanger may be placed. So due to the weight of the hanger, we can measure the corresponding deflection. Then one weight is provided. So the total weight will be weight of one load plus the weight of hanger. Then second one is kept. Again, you measure the deflection at the first quarter span dial. Similarly, one by one these weights may be added, so that for the total weight also you can measure the deflection at the first quarter span dial gauge. Complete. So this is the increasing order of weights. So when you add each weight, you can measure the corresponding deflection in the dial gauge provided at the first quarter span. So after keeping all the weights on the hanger, this is the total weight. So for this total weight, you measure the deflection that is coming in the dial gauge that is provided at the first quarter span. Then after that, you remove the weights one by one. Then in that order also, you can again measure the deflection that is coming on the dial gauge provided on the first quarter span, so that you can take the average of these measurements as the deflection corresponding to each load. This is for minimizing the error that can occur due to some mispractice or something in the experiment. Then after removing for 0 load, we can check when the hanger is also removed. For 0 load at the second quarter span, we can check whether the deflected in the dial gauge at the first quarter span is 0 or not. If it is not, means there is some error. So you can average that. After that, you interchange the positions of the loading and the dial gauge that is provided in the first quarter span, so that the dial is kept under the second quarter span. And the loading hanger that is to be. So when there is no hanger, you make the reading on the dial that is provided at the second quarter span as 0. This is to be kept as 0. So deflection is 0. Then the dial that is provided the midspan for checking whether it is correct or not, that also may be taken as 0. Then the hanger is to be kept at the first quarter span. So the loading point and deflection measuring points are interchanged. Then again you repeat the same procedure of loading that is followed at the second quarter span. You add the loads one by one and you measure the deflection that is coming in the dial gauge that is provided the second quarter span for each load. So in the increasing order as well as in the decreasing order, when these each weights are removed from the hanger, you take the dial gauge reading so that you can take the average of that one. Average of that one. So with that you can complete the table with the load and the corresponding deflection. For loading at the second quarter span and deflection at the first quarter span, as well as loading at the first quarter span and corresponding deflection at the second quarter span. This is increasing. Now for decreasing, we remove the weights one by one. And after removing the hanger also, you can check whether the reading on the dial that is provided the second quarter span has come to 0 or not. If it is not 0 means that will be having some error. And now here it is almost 0, minute error. So you can take it as 0, right? So it will come like this. And after completing this one, you have to complete the tabular column with the load and deflection. So for each load, when dial is provided at the first quarter span with the load at the second quarter span, you can get one set of reading. Then for the loading at the first quarter span and deflection at the second quarter span, you can get another set of readings. And with these two sets of readings, you plot the graph between load and deflection. And for both the cases, that is for the loading at the first quarter span as well as loading at the second quarter span, the graph should coincide. Or if it is satisfying 100% the Clark-Maxwell reciprocal theorem, these two graphs should be one and the same. And as we know, during the experiment, there can be many types of errors due to which there will be slight variation. So that may be assumed as the error due to experimental setup or manual errors. So this is the theorem is what is called Clark-Maxwell reciprocal theorem for deflection. Similarly, for slope also there is another version of the Clark-Maxwell reciprocal theorem. So here we are proving the Clark-Maxwell reciprocal theorem for deflection.